Yeah, it was a great week last week. I thought we took some strides in the right direction. Looking back at the film, we played extremely well against Old Dominion in the first half, and Mike Green was at a very high level. Our bigs finished inside. You know, they if they missed it, they got offensive rebounds, and I thought we guarded pretty well. And then second half, you know, we weren't as sharp. I thought they did some things better and made some things tough, but that's a tough place to play, and that's a good win. And you know, just like a lot of times, you're kind of dealing with different things in college, and we're dealing with exams right now, and you know, this is not really the kind of the break that you think you're going to get, where you're playing Saturday to Saturday. Our guys got many exams, and their brains are elsewhere as they should be. So we're dealing with that, and we're trying to keep them going, trying not to get out of condition and everything else to get ready for Hampton on Saturday.
As you look back at the film against ODU, what really stood out in that first half, especially?
The passing of Mike Green and Terence Edwards. That's what really stood out. I knew they passed the ball well, but they made the right reads. And you know, I compare it sometimes. I tell the guys, it's like a quarterback. You know, the one read's taken means something else is open. And if they're guarding it a certain way, you know, go to the counter. And it's kind of processing the game. And I thought those two really processed the game very good in the first half.
Is that something that you thought this team would be good at, just their ability to pass the ball? Because you're averaging over 17 assists per game, and that's a ton, especially playing the schedule that you've played with just one non-D1 so far. Did you expect your team to be this type of a passing team and share the basketball?
Well, there was an effort for us in our recruiting. And I think everybody looks at points per game and when they're trying to bring in transfers. And, you know, of course we need somebody to score, but we, as a staff and everybody else, we talked about players that know how to play and players that can make other guys better around them. And the scoring's great too. But it was a conscious effort of us of not being so infatuated with just somebody's points per game and take them as a transfer, trying to find the highest points per game and bring them in. We want stuff that translates. We had some guys already here that could score, but that was a major thing in our recruiting, and it's probably been even a little bit better than I thought. You know, I knew Mike Green was good, but, you know, like when TJ is able to pass the way he is, that's special, and it makes our whole team a lot better.
Can you talk about Mike a little bit and what you saw in the recruiting process to try and bring him in? It seems like this system really fits him. He's scoring a little bit more than he was maybe back kind of in his Bryant days. But what did you see in Mike that really stood out and you wanted to bring him in?
Well, I thought he's my style of guard. First, very cerebral. And then I don't like the traditional guard who can only pass. I don't like the guy who can only do certain things. I like guys who do multiple things and be able to – some games high scoring, some games high assist. And I think if you look at his career, he was high scoring at Bryant. You know, that showed he could score. And, you know, he was able to do different things like Robert Morris, where he was able to be a high assist guy and make those plays. So I wanted to be a combination of what he's shown in the past, but at the same time, I never wanted to hold him back. I wanted him to just go ahead and just play. You know, make the right reads. I trust you, and he's got such a good feel for the game. So we saw that, you know, in bits and pieces. And, you know, he was hampered by some injuries in preseason. And luckily he got back healthy in time for most of the games.
And then I know we've talked a little bit about TJ, and obviously he's been tremendous all year long. But, you know, is he kind of the type of guy that you're talking about just a minute ago? You don't look at the points per game because, again, he was about 5 and 5 at BC. But did you kind of expect him to come in and do what he's done?
We knew it'd be much higher, but because we were going to lean on him more. But I've known TJ since probably his junior year in high school, and I watched him then. And if you watch TJ in high school, the ironic thing was he was a knockdown three-point shooter, and that was his main thing. Now, at the time, he had great hands and, you know, great feel for the game, good size, tough. You know, had the qualities you see now. But I knew he had more scoring ability. Because he was asked to do what he was asked to do at those different places. But even at his second year at Drexel, he had some good scoring bursts during that moments at Drexel. So The scoring we knew he could do. He rebounded at a high level his first year at BC. He was sick last year and missed some games, this and that. But if you look at what he did his first year in the ACC, he already rebounded that level too.
They had a record crowd at ODU the other night, and obviously you guys have played in some tough environments, but you've mentioned kind of being a marked team this year. Have you been doing anything to kind of get the guys ready for what they might face in conference play, just as far as, those kinds of crowds and atmospheres?
We haven't talked about it in conference play because, that's still far out. But going into a game like that, I always try to tell the guys what I believe the environment's going to be like. I don't want them to be surprised. And, I want them to understand sometimes we go into places and there's 200 fans. And that's difficult, surprisingly or not, because there's no energy. And I want them to know, hey, you're going to go into a hostile environment, packed environment. And I just try to prepare them the best I can so they know what to get themselves into, and so we can prepare as a staff. But I can tell you this, our guys, the bigger, more hostile crowd on the road, the better. They love it. They absolutely love it. Sometimes too much. They come in and they love that challenge, and that was a good atmosphere. When we played there last year, it was a good atmosphere. So our guys like it, and Old Dominion does a great job. I think they led the league in attendance last year, didn't they? I think we might have been third or fourth. I think they led the league, so they do a good job drawing for games, especially when we're there. You guys aren't on your stats. We're going to have trivia time. We'll start questioning people. Did they? Yeah, they draw well.
Just kind of looking ahead at this schedule, have you had a chance to start evaluating Hampton? And if so, what have you seen out of them?
Yeah, started working on them last night. Been working on them all morning. Here's the biggest thing with them. They got an all-conference player is getting eligible tonight. And so it's one team that played 8 games. And, Nesbitt's coming back tonight. That's what was in the paper. And he's very talented, extremely talented. But so I think what's going to happen with their team is I think they're going to start being different and win a bunch of games. So I'm watching them now. They play a non-1 tonight. We'll evaluate that. But Hampton is athletic, transfers, have guys that have had, good moments in their career. And I think they're putting it all together. So, we kind of got to be ready for just them being at their best, and we're sure we're going to get their best shot. So they shoot it well. I love the kid Kyrie Smolin. I think he's a really good player, tough player. Played at Massanutten Military right up the road. And, the transfers they brought in have really done well, especially the transfer from St. Francis. He's really shooting the ball well, great size wing.
You mentioned a couple weeks ago how you thought the team has been really locked in on game plans, especially at the start of games, and that seemed evident against ODU again in the first half. What do you think it is about this group that is that something you've kind of preached, or is that something they've taken ownership of themselves, or what's allowed you guys to get off to such fast starts in games, you think?
Well, the basketball part of it, I think I have basketball guys who love that part of the game. And, Noah Friedel and Terence Edwards and Mike Green and Julian Wooden, like these guys are talking basketball all the time. And they're talking game plans, or talking adjustments. And then when we're saying something as a staff, they ask questions, which I know they're active learners when they're doing that. So I think it's a part of that. I think they know how important it is. And my assistant coaches do a great job of prepping guys. We work hard on the game plan, and our guys do a great job of implementing it.
Quincy Allen didn't get in the other night, and he's had some moments where he's kind of like, wow, he's made some plays where it's been pretty incredible. But is he still trying to kind of figure things out, what you're asking of him, what it takes to play at this level?
Yeah, I think if you go back and look, when we signed him and when he got here, I was like, we got to work with him and build him. He's not a finished product. And, he hasn't played a lot of basketball. He's barely played college basketball before he got here. And I could tell you this, he's improved a lot. And it wasn't a great situation for him the other night with some of the other guys and some matchups and all that. But he's had moments, and I can see his role expanding throughout the year. I really can, because he's worked hard. He's gotten better. He's picking up a lot of things we're teaching. and he has talent and athletic ability. He's just got to understand the basketball, the coaching part of it, and the schemes and the scouting reports and all that, and then you're going to kind of see that. So we've been happy with him. And one thing that I tell guys like him is don't get caught up in somebody else's expectations. Don't get caught up in somebody else's plan for you. You got to run your own race. And he's getting better and better and not focusing on the wrong things and getting better and better. And he's going to help us this year. He's going to help us in the future. But I think sometimes when people see maybe a ranking or, hey, this guy's going to do something, he's got to play college. He's got to get used to practices. He's got to be used to getting coached, and he's doing all that. So it's bringing him along, and I think you're going to see somebody that could really help us maybe in February.
You're giving up just 41% defensive field goal percentage. Evaluate your defense through 9 games. Has it progressed like you've wanted it to?
I think we've had moments where it's been very good, and one thing you can't get caught up in is a certain stat with us is points per game on defense, because we play a lot of possessions, and we can slow it down and take their points per game down. If we run a lot more clock and slow it down and that part of it. But our thing is, are we forcing bad shots? Are we rebounding? Are we doing certain things? We've mixed some things up, kind of tinkering with some things, so we can adjust during the game. I like that part of it. But if I said one area that I want to make sure that we're progressing and take more steps and really we need more improvement on is our defense. But it hasn't been bad. But I just think, where we got to do and where we got to go, that's got to be the thing that's got to really come up.
Is this a challenging stretch as a head coach as far as, again, finals this week, lots of other things going on? The guys will be going home for Christmas for a little while. That's always a challenge to keep their minds right. Is this a challenge to keep your guys kind of locked in these last 2 weeks?
Yeah, but it has been a challenge. Yeah, this week is every year. And kind of like going in, like you're talking about the holiday season, it is every year it's a challenge. But we've had to deal with a lot of stuff here, and whatever we are now, 5 or 6, 7 weeks into the season, we've had a lot of things to deal with, and good things. But those good things can be challenging too, and kind of the JMU campus being on fire with game day and momentum and excitement and all that. Like all that's, could be distracting and challenges and everything else too. So we've been dealing with them. I hope we're learning along the way that we're able to stay focused and things that we might not have done great in the past we're fixing. But these are different types of ones. The mental drain from academics, we got 2 of the next 3 on the road, that challenge. Then going home and the families and everything else, and then you're getting pulled that direction. Then coming back, getting ready for conference play. It's a lot, but I like having an older team. I wouldn't want to do all that with a younger team, because then I think you might be really inconsistent. Older guys, they know what to do. They might not do it perfect. They know what to do, and they kind of know how to reset themselves.
With conference play on the horizon, have you dove into a lot of the conference and what they've done here in the non-conference so far?
Watched it, kind of as a bystander. A lot of those games. Really haven't had too many common opponents. We had Louisiana. They played Buffalo. We've had a couple of them. I've kind of like seen some teams in the league. And the only thing we've really done as a staff is we kind of prep for some of those Saturday games early on, and just made sure that we thought we were about 25 or 30% prepared for them already, because you get in that league play and that Thursday, Saturday happens quick. But besides that, we've kind of just stayed where our feet are and focused on these non-conference games, with the exception of maybe a couple of them.